Hey everyone, I'm Glen Grimster and I live in Brantford, Ontario. I play bass guitar in gag order and occasionally for TFS. Okay, I guess my influences for doing for getting into music and stuff like that, who influenced me the most was I guess it was my group of friends that we used to hang out with all the time. You know what I mean? We all kind of got into the same music. We're all into mostly kind of a lot of metal back then, like the older stuff like Priest and whatever. But we started growing into the other stuff that we started listening to, and then we wanted to emulate the people that we saw. So we were kind of, we had a couple friends already who played drums, so that was kind of a bonus for us. Like two people, and there must have been about a dozen guys, friends all together, and which are still today with Terry Martin and Chico Tamilia, playing with those guys for ages, and. But we all decided to buy guitars and basses and get together and start jamming, and yeah, it just influenced. It was more like a group influence in my kind of. So yeah. Okay, what got me into metal, punk, and hardcore? I started with say metal, well, more like rock stuff like that. It was more through when I was younger. We used to go camping a lot, and friends of the family, their son was a bit older than I was, but he was into all like Alice Cooper, AC/DC, like all the old stuff, and Ozzy Osbourne, Def Leppard, and that. So I kind of started in that, which was good, and then kind of graduated up to started getting more into, like you're saying, Judas Priest and Iron Maiden, more like into the '80s, right? And then everything did change when on the Power Hour, the Much Music Power Hour, we seen they had Venom. They played Venom for the first time. And I remember just getting together with all the guys and talking about, did you see that last night? And they're just like, that was the craziest thing I've ever seen. And after that, it didn't stop. It was like, like Slayer, and then it was Creator and Sodom and Exodus and, Metallica. And that was just, everything went crazy with thrash metal. And then there was black metal and, speed metal with Possessed and stuff like that. It was like, well, I couldn't get enough of anything like that. I even ended up going more into to the European stuff. I was kind of like Creator and Sodom, Agent Orange, and a lot of great bands. Celtic Frost, but then that, I think it was. I was listening to a little bit of Sex Pistols and stuff at the same time, because it was all. I mean, at that time it didn't matter as long as it was kind of fast, energetic, just crazy, and against everything else, and that was for me, right? That's how it was. So we all got labeled, even at our school, we all got labeled as there was only like about maybe a dozen of us that would listen to any of this, and everybody else was like, oh, you'll be listening to Led Zeppelin and everything in a few years. Like, I already listened to that. I've moved on, so. But yeah, I guess that's how it kind of went for me. So, yeah. Okay, the first concert I ever went to, and also be my first metal concert that I ever went to, was Celtic Frost, Voivod, and I can't remember if it was Running Wild or Overthrow that played the other band, but I mean, it was an amazing show, and like I had just gotten my license, and I said to a couple other friends, hey, you want to go to Toronto and go see a show? And they're just like, yeah, we'd never done anything like that before. So it was new for all of us, and we dragged them all down there. It was at the concert hall, which is, I don't know if you've ever been there. It was an amazing venue for shows, and crazy things happen there. But and my first punk rock show, I believe that would have been a local show here. Would have been with Psychosomatic and MSI and bands of that. Like local band, was it Social Suicide and Problem Children, a lot of local shows like that. So, yeah. All right, some of my favorite shows that I've seen. I'm gonna say one of my favorite I could remember is Pantera, Biohazard, and
White Zombie.
no, it was Pantera, Sepultura, and Biohazard. Yeah, that was a great, and that was one of those ones where it just kind of happens where somebody needed a ride, the ride fell out, and there's like, "Can you go? Let's go." So we ended up going to, and I saw that at the Gardens too, which was like I think one of the last shows that they did have there or whatever, and that, you know, it wasn't too long after that it was shut down. But to see some other shows, I got to see GBH and The Accused. That was an amazing show. But the only problem, The Accused only played for about 20 minutes because something about they had to be back across the border at a certain time. So, but I mean, other than that, it was great. The club was packed, and you know what I mean. It was a great show. I got to see Motorhead with Clutch and Valiant Thor. That was an amazing. That was in Kitchener, I believe, at Elements or something like that. I can't. Elements or Stages? No, probably Elements. But yeah, no, that was another show there. It's trying to think of so many shows I've seen over the years. Like I got to see King Diamond play at the same club there as GBH and The Accused. That was so long ago. I watched Corrosion Conformity play there at the Embassy in London, and gee, I don't know. That's all I can think of it right now. Okay, some of the craziest things I've ever seen at a show, I guess. Again, so many shows, so many crazy things, right? Like saying us, Voivod, Soundgarden. We watched a couple guys jumping from the balconies into the crowd at the concert hall. So that's got to be at least 20, 25 feet from the top. The one guy landed. He actually landed on a couple friends of ours. We actually watched it happen from the balcony. As I said, they were all right. They didn't get hurt. But the second guy, he didn't do so good. He tripped on the going down, and he went down hard. So, but yeah, and I guess not a good time. I remember at SNFU, they played that show where they had I think Chai Pig come out wearing a Brian Mulrooney mask and a big plastic kid's bat. He's beating the crowd with that and a Chinese yo-yo. And then it was a matinee show too. So I think it was about like 30, 35 degrees in the place. It was so hot. And then he goes back behind the drums and he comes back out and he's got the biggest bag of puff wheat that I've ever seen. He just rips it open. Everybody in the first like 10 feet is just covered in puffed wheat. Like it was just hilarious, right? I couldn't stop laughing. Just amazing, right? Like some of the shit that goes on, right? But yeah, that and see another good show was at the Symphony with DOA and Death Sentence. Just like so hot, people were passing out from the heat in the place. And it's second story venue as well. It didn't add, you know what I mean? So that and a whole lot of mushrooms just kind of made it for one interesting night. I gotta tell you, for sure. But yeah, that's some of the craziest ones that I can remember. Okay, so my past and current bands. So I'm going to start with first band I started with was No Reason. That's with a couple friends of mine, Scott Birdsell and Jeff Carpenter. And then I was played in Psychosomatic for a little bit there. And then I was in the Cluster Bombs. I was in a cover band called Stone Crawl for a while. I was just playing on just all kinds of cover tunes. And then I played with Meh from Hamilton as well for a little bit there. And TFS, Tough Fucking Shit from Brantford. I played with Terry in that. And currently now I'm in Gagler. And possibly doing a little side project more with TFS. So yeah, so that's where we are now. What do I like most about being a musician? I say is that it's kind of something that you can, something you can do on your own, and you can work on it as, you see what you want to do, and, kind of, explore as you see, what you want to do. And it's, I don't know, there's just something about playing a song and being in the moment, being present in that moment where nothing else matters but just what you're playing. and everything else kind of everything else is kind of blocked out, and it's just you and the guitar and the the vibrations that you're sending out. I think I don't know how much. It's kind of like almost something you can't put into words when you're playing. You know what I mean? It just makes you feel like on top of the world, or you know what I mean? Like just an amazing feeling for me, anyways. So, and what I dislike about music, being a musician, I say just kind of the lack of pay, and a lot of stuff like that too, man. You got to do a lot of work, and you know what I mean. You better love what you do, or you know what I mean. You're not going to be doing it for too long. So I think that's probably about the most thing I dislike about it. Is just, it's everybody's like, oh, you need exposure. It's like, well, can't record and put out albums with exposure. So, but well, maybe guess you can. But anyways, yeah. So. All right, favorite food. So, I mean, there's a lot of different stuff that me and my wife really like to get eat, but we've been doing a lot of Greek food, like saying like Slovaki dinner. I say that's probably when I was in the tzatziki. That's probably some of our favorite, but I can say hands down is the chicken shawarma. Yeah, just like you can't. That's every time after a show. We're in Toronto or whatever. I mean, we had a couple places here in Brantford that made them, but they weren't too good. But now we got a tahinis or whatever. That's not too bad. And so, but yeah, I gotta say hands down, chicken shawarma. Yeah. All right, my useless talent, I guess, would be the trivia, knowing stuff that nobody else would know, or most of the time, or wouldn't want to know. You know what I mean? If it's movies and dialogue for movies and lyrics for songs, I just like for some reason I remember them. I don't know why, I just do. Then I got that, and I can move my ears.
One sec. Put your head straight.
That's about it for useless talents. Did you get it? I'd like to take this opportunity right now to say thank you to Steve and Stronger Than Ever videos for having me and letting me chew your guys' ear off for a little bit. So right on. Keep it up.